This is how the Egyptian civilization grew and changed over the years. Let's take a moment to explore its incredible evolution. Imagine a civilization so advanced, it built monuments that have stood for over 4,000 years, a kingdom where gods walked among mortals, where the dead were buried with treasures for the afterlife, and where one river, the Nile, was the heartbeat of an empire. This is the story of ancient Egypt, a tale of power, mystery, and legacy that shaped the world. Today, we're covering the entire history of ancient Egypt, from its humble beginnings in mud brick villages to the rise and fall of pharaohs, whose names still echo in history. Our story begins around 5,000 years ago. Picture the Nile River flooding every year, turning dry desert into fertile farmland. For early Egyptians, the Nile wasn't just water, it was life itself. Without it, there would be no Egypt. By around 3100 BCE, two lands, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north, were united under a single ruler, Nama, also known as Menes. Think of it like the first CEO of Egypt Inc., merging two rival companies into a superpower. This was the birth of the first dynasty, and with it, the very idea of Pharaoh as both king and living god. Fast forward a few centuries to the Old Kingdom, Egypt's first golden age. This was when the Great Pyramids were born, not from alien magic, but from incredible human engineering. The most famous, the Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu around 2560 BCE. Imagine moving blocks the size of SUVs, over 2 million of them, without modern cranes or trucks. The workers? Skilled laborers, not slaves, living in organized workers' villages. But this wasn't just about tombs. Pyramids were cosmic elevators, designed to launch pharaohs' souls to the afterlife. It was religion, politics, and engineering, all rolled into one. But even great empires stumble. Around 2181 BCE, droughts, famine, and political infighting cracked the foundations of the Old Kingdom. Egypt fractured into smaller states, each ruled by local warlords. Yet Egypt was nothing if not resilient. By 2055 BCE, Pharaoh Mentuhotep II reunified the land, starting the Middle Kingdom, a time of literature, art, and expansion. This was when Egypt's identity solidified, its gods, its bureaucracy, its sense of destiny. Think of it as Egypt 2.0, smarter, stronger, and more centralized. But Egypt's wealth attracted attention. Around 1650 BCE, a group called the Hyksos foreign rulers from the Near East invaded, bringing new tech like horse-drawn chariots. Egyptians eventually kicked them out, but they learned something. To survive, you have to innovate, and so began the new kingdom, Egypt's Age of Empire. This was the era of legendary pharaohs. Hatshepsut, the female king who traded instead of conquered. Thutmose III, the Napoleon of Egypt. Akhenaten, the heretic who tried to erase Egypt's gods. And of course, Tutankhamun, whose tomb would make him the most famous pharaoh of all, thousands of years after his death. And then there's Ramses II Ramses, the great builder, warrior, and PR master, immortalized in temples that still tower over the sands. After Ramses, Egypt's glory days dimmed. Internal strife, weaker rulers, and new enemies chipped away at its power. Assyrians, Persians, and eventually the Greeks under Alexander the Great all took turns ruling the Nile. Yet Egypt never lost its magic. Even foreign kings adopted Egyptian customs, dressed as pharaohs, and honored its gods. The curtain fell with Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh. More than a beauty queen, she was a skilled diplomat and strategist, navigating alliances with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony in a desperate bid to keep Egypt free. But in 30 BCE, After the defeat at Actium, Egypt became a Roman province. The age of the Pharaohs was over. Yet in a way, Egypt never truly died. Its monuments still inspire awe. Its art still tells stories, and its influence still flows, like the Nile itself, through our world today. From the sands of Giza to the hieroglyphs carved in stone, ancient Egypt whispers across time, reminding us that civilizations rise, fall, and yet, somehow, live on. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into history, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next story from the past. See you next time.